A brand new Spirit Halloween 2022 tabletop item has been revealed. Let's take a peek. For everything scary, I'm GMHaunts, and this is a very exciting video for myself to be filming and for all of my Spirit Halloween fans out there, because we have gotten a brand new look at a Spirit Halloween 2022 tabletop item. Now, this item actually has a very interesting backstory, and I'm going to tell it to you before I show you the brand new photos, and this is actually because this item is the Vintage Frankenstein Sidestepper. So if that name or these pictures seem a little bit familiar to you, it's because they should be. Last year, during the 2021 Spirit Halloween season, this item was actually supposed to be released in stores. It was actually in the planograms, which is what Spirit Halloween employees call the papers that they use to set up the store and to see where they put things like on the H-frames. He was actually printed on one of the planograms, and he was supposed to be next to the doll area. He was on there, he was told where he was supposed to be put in store, all of this stuff, and he was set to be released for 2021. However, like we saw with all these shipping delays that happened with Spirit during the 2021 season, he was one of the items that just never made it to stores. We kind of thought that maybe he would just make it, but it would be late in the season. However, the season kept going on, and we never saw him once. So he was printed in the planograms. By the way, I should mention it was the prototype model. The one that was in the planogram picture was actually the prototype, so he has just a completely white box because he was the sample. He was in the planograms, he was in the pictures, we had his SKU, all this stuff, and then he just never made it to one Spirit Halloween location during the 2021 season. Well, we just got some brand new stock photos revealed on the Spirit Halloween website that confirmed to us that even though he was unreleased last year because of shipping delays, Spirit is releasing him this year in stores most likely, and he is coming out once and for all after he was delayed for the 2021 season. So without further ado, let's take a look at this brand new Spirit Halloween 2022 Vintage Frankenstein Sidestepper tabletop. Alrighty, so let's take a look at this brand new Spirit Halloween 2022, most likely in stores. This guy will most likely be in stores on the shelf like he should have been in 2021. Vintage Frankenstein Sidestepper. So right off the bat, I do want to mention this guy is manufactured by Rayland Industrial Company. They're not known for being one of the companies that manufactures animatronics, but they do manufacture a lot of tabletops and smaller items, so it makes sense that they're manufacturing this Vintage Frankenstein Sidestepper. Now, this guy will be retailing for $29.99, 30 United States dollars, which is a pretty standard price for these Sidesteppers that we've seen. Not a bad price at all, but I'll get to that in a second. Now, since this guy is a Sidestepper, we know exactly what kind of motion he's going to have before we even see his video, because he actually does not have a demo video as of yet. We only have his stock photos. But what this guy will do, he'll rock and he'll move kind of forward, he'll move side to side, and his arms will move up and down. Again, all these Sidesteppers do the same animation, so we know already what he's going to do. Most likely, as for the audio, he's probably just going to play some kind of vintage, maybe Frankenstein audio, maybe like a groaning sound, maybe some creepy music like a vintage Frankenstein sound. Not really sure, but just something probably basic that would work with Frankenstein. Now let's take a look at the look of this brand new Sidestepper, and actually I really like him. Obviously, they're going for the whole vintage aesthetic to this guy. Within the last couple of years, we've seen that Spirit has really dove into the vintage kind of Halloween decor. We saw the vintage dolls, we saw the vintage masks, we saw the vintage hanging characters. We are really seeing just a lot of vintage merchandise coming from Spirit. Whether it's masks or dolls or hanging props, they're really getting into that whole aspect of Halloween, because people like myself, haunters like myself, and ordinary just consumers really enjoy vintage stuff. It kind of has a flair from the past, and it looks really cool. So it's awesome to see that Spirit is diving even further into the vintage world with this vintage Frankenstein Sidestepper. I really enjoy the look that he has. The face is the best thing about him, obviously. He's got just a really vintage looking face, and this is actually coming right from the vintage Frankenstein mask that Spirit also sold. That's exactly where they're getting this sculpt and paint job from, but it does look really awesome. I love the kind of little purple marks on his face, his black eyes, his big Frankenstein head, his black hair. The sculpt is just really awesome. I love the way it looks, and it fits really good on his small body. I also really enjoy his outfit. They really could have ruined it if they just went with like a generic green, a green all over outfit. No, they actually gave him black, and like a black undersuit, and then a green coat over it. Looks really good, and it looks very accurate to Frankenstein, who has a black outfit underneath and then a green coat on top of it. And the green actually is a very good coloring. It's just dark green, exactly how it should be. I love the way that looks. The hands are also really cool. They're pretty generic. They're just regular Sidestepper hands. But they match his green skin, and he has black fingernails, which I think look awesome. Taking a look at his shoes, he just has some ordinary black plastic shoes. Not much going on there, but of course it fits and works with the Frankenstein idea, because that's exactly what Frankenstein actually wears. But I mean, this guy just looks really awesome. He really does carry on that vintage aesthetic, and this looks like something that you would see maybe 1980s, 1990s. I love the way he looks. Like I mentioned, I just think the face is easily my favorite thing about him. He's got some stitches on his forehead. He's got the purple marks that kind of look like shadowing on his cheeks and under his eyes. I love his little black beady eyes. They look really good. Again, the entire sculpt is just really detailed for something as small as the Sidestepper is. The nose looks good. He's got that frowning face like Frankenstein always has. And then, by the way, in his hair, he also has some purple marks, which I really like. Overall, I mean, the sculpt of the head is really awesome. It fits really well with the vintage theme and with the rest of the vintage lineup. From all the dolls, the hanging props, it just works really well. And like I mentioned, I do also enjoy the fingers and hands. I think they look good. Overall, I think the animation will look really good on this guy as well, just because his arms are straight out, his head looks good, and his legs look good, so I think the animation will look pretty organic, just like it does with the other Sidesteppers. So actually, I really do enjoy this guy. I think the animation will work really well with the look of him. But like I mentioned, it's just really interesting to see that this guy is ending up getting released. It was really disappointing last year when we saw his picture on the planogram, and then he didn't end up getting released. I was really disappointed, because I'm a huge fan of this guy, and when I saw his picture, I really wanted to be able to buy him, and I was hoping that he would end up making it to stores. He didn't, and it was really disappointing, and we didn't really know if he would end up getting released at some point in the future. Well, just last night, these pictures ended up getting discovered, which confirms to us that he will be getting released in stores most likely for the 2022 season. He was meant to be in stores last year, but then didn't, which is why I'm kind of thinking that most likely he will be in stores for this year, for 2022, and not in online only. Now, I will say, as of right now, this guy is not officially up on the website. You can't order him as of yet. This is an early listing that we found, but it's not really a leak, because since we had his listing last year, basically everyone already has him, so he's not really a leak. However, this guy is not officially out yet. We only have his pictures. You cannot order him. Most likely, he'll be going up for order within the next couple of months as we go closer to the season, maybe in June, July, somewhere around there. I would expect for him to go up for sale, but it could be much sooner than that. I really have no idea. Spirit sometimes picks weird times to release their stuff, especially when it's something like this that was supposed to release actually last year. They might release it earlier than it probably would if it was a brand new item. But overall, I do really enjoy this Vintage Frankenstein Sidestepper. I'm really excited to see him hopefully in stores for the 2022 season. It also makes me think, will we end up getting more vintage stuff for this season? If this guy ended up getting released, I wonder if they'll go further with the vintage doll lineup. Obviously, last year we saw the Vintage Wolfman and Vintage Frankenstein, excuse me. We saw the Vintage Clown and Vintage Wolfman dolls getting released. Maybe if we're seeing this guy released, maybe this is kind of a sign that we'll also get more vintage dolls released for the 2022 season. If we do, I mean, I would be really excited for that. I really want to get more vintage dolls. Maybe we'll get more vintage hangers like we got last year. Maybe some more vintage masks. I really don't know, but I just hope that the vintage lineup continues, because I always love all the vintage stuff. It just has such a cool flair to it. The paint jobs are always awesome, and Spirit and their manufacturers are getting better and better at doing these sculpts. SVI has always been a big manufacturer in the vintage stuff, and they're getting really good at replicating and creating that vintage look that you would see like years and years ago, maybe 1990, 1980. So I love the way it's coming out. And overall, I really do enjoy this Vintage Frankenstein Sidestepper. He is really awesome, and he's definitely one of the best Sidesteppers, in my opinion, that we've ever seen from Spirit. I just really love his coloring. I love that lime green look. The sculpt is really awesome, and I love his outfit. They really did give him a great outfit with the black undercoat and then the green coat on top of it. It just looks really good and really accurate to the actual Frankenstein from the movies. Overall, really, really love this guy. Rayland's Industrial Company is a great manufacturer for this guy. They did a fantastic job with him, and I think he looks really awesome. $29.99, 30 United States dollars is a great price for him. Fits him really well. Obviously, he has a decent amount of animation, as his arms will move up and down and his body will rock. So that $30 is actually very, very good, in my opinion, for him. He fits really well with the other Sidesteppers, and I hope to see him in stores for the Spirit Halloween 2022 season. And even if we don't, he's just a great addition to the Spirit Halloween 2022 lineup. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to wrap up my video, taking a look at and reacting to this brand new Spirit Halloween 2022 Vintage Frankenstein Sidestepper. Let me know in the comments down below, what do you think about this guy? Do you think he's one of the best Sidesteppers or one of the worst? Let me know by writing a comment down below. And remember to subscribe to GMHaunts for more videos just like this. Spirit Halloween 2022, Home Depot Halloween 2022, and more videos coming out full force this month and then going even closer into the Halloween season. I'm working as hard as I can to react to every piece of information that comes out for the Halloween 2022 season. I will see you guys later for more Spirit Halloween 2022 videos. Goodbye.